It's Bros on the Beat. Make way for Mark Gray.
Robert Ford, the outstanding Houston Astros play-by-play announcer for radio. Thanks for taking the time to join us. You were on the call for the championship last year. So as you look at where the Astros are right now, about 45 games left to go in the season, do you get the sense that they're peaking? They're somewhere near where they were at the same time last year?
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, I think that they're certainly peaking. I mean, you think about Jose Altuve missed the first 7 weeks of the season with the fractured thumb. Yordan Alvarez missed 7 weeks with an oblique injury. Altuve missed another 2 weeks with an oblique injury. Those two had only played 13 games together up until a couple of weeks ago. And then you think about the Astros, losing 3/5 of their projected opening day rotation at different times. Luis Garcia is going to be out for the year. Lance McCullers Jr. is going to be out for the year as well. Both of them having Tommy John. So, it's one of those things where when you look at everybody that the Astros have missed and how much time guys have been out, the fact that they're doing what they're doing in second place, just behind the Rangers and in a wild card spot is pretty impressive.
Can you talk about how the influence or impact of winning a world championship transcends the team in those dark moments when things don't look like they can turn around? Because it really looks like the team never lost confidence, and they knew once they got the whole deck of cards back that they were really going to be ready to play as well as they're playing right now.
Well, this team expects to win, and that's the mentality. They expect to win another championship. They expect to win a championship every single year, and that's the way they go into the season. That's the way they go in every game. That's the way they go into the postseason. They don't expect anything less, and they go out and prove it on the field. You look at the way they play against some of the better clubs, particularly on the road. I mean, they have a sweep in Atlanta this year. They took 2 out of 3 at Tampa Bay. They ended the Rays' win streak to start the season at home. This team plays well when it matters most. Just took 2 out of 3 against a very good Orioles team. I mean, this team shows up for big games, and that's been the case the last several years.
And with the rules changes, the team was previously built. You've always had depth offensively. You could play hit and run when it wasn't fashionable. You hit the big fly and are still knocking the ball out the ballpark. Seems like the changes in the game play to the way that the rosters was constructed.
Well, I think if you're a good baseball team, the rule changes, you're going to be able to adjust to them, because ultimately if you can play the game, if you can pitch, if you can catch the ball, if you can do the little things like move runners over, you're going to have success. And the Astros have been able to do that the last few years for the most part.
Talk about how the Astros have sort of become the team in Houston now. I mean, the football team has had struggles. The basketball team has been a disappointment. You had UH, came just a little short of cutting down the nets for the national championship. But the Astros now, the hottest ticket in town, huh?
I mean, when I got to Houston 10 years ago, you didn't see people walking around wearing Astros merchandise very much. But now everybody you see wearing Astros merchandise, and way more than the other professional teams combined. University of Houston's probably second banana, at least the closest to the Astros in terms of popularity. But even for a lot of people in Houston, if they have no ties to the University of Houston, they're not as invested. But with the Astros, there are just so many connections. And I think what's happened too is there were so many people when the Astros were not having very good years who stayed home, and they were waiting for a reason to cheer on this ball club again, and this team has given them that over the last 6 or 7 years.
All right, so down the stretch, as this team makes its final charge, what do you expect to see from them? And then getting to October, and I know we might be putting the cart in front of the horse, but how do you project this team? Where are they trending?
Well, I think they're trending up right now, and I'm curious to see what Justin Verlander does. He's going to make his second start for the Astros coming up here against the Angels, and that'll help stabilize the rotation, have more rotation depth than they've had all year. I think that certainly helps. Starters have started to go a little deeper in the games. That helps the bullpen, which the leverage relievers have really been taxed all year. So you hope they can get a little fresher before they get into potential postseason games. So I think the Astros are in a really good position, all things considered, especially when you think about where they started and how many injuries they've dealt with and underperformance that they've dealt with to this point.
Before I let you go, you mentioned about how it was 10 years ago when you got to Houston, and now you're a team that's holding the championship. how much different is the climate, the organization, and most of all, the expectations night in, night out?
I mean, it's completely different. I mean, 2013, my first year, the Astros were hoping not to lose. They could play the best game they were capable of playing and still lose a lot of nights just because the talent wasn't there. And to go from that to where it is now, where you have guys who not only are, they know they belong in the big leagues. I think in 2013, 2014, it was a lot of guys trying to prove they belonged in the big leagues and show that they could stay in the big leagues. But now you have guys who know they belong, and there's way more of a support system when young players come up. They don't feel like they have to do everything because there are a lot of guys here who can do a lot of different things and provide leadership as well.
And have you noticed a difference in terms of relief, calmness? I mean, he never was emotional, but in terms of Dusty's demeanor now that he's got the chip?
Well, no. I mean, Dusty's the same guy, and I think he's probably been the same guy his whole career. I mean, you talk to people who've known him a lot longer than I have, and, Dusty says, he jokes that people say think he's a lot smarter now because he's won a championship. But, yeah, he's the same guy that I really first got to know in 2020 when he took over the Astros, and just a pleasure to be around Dusty every day.
And I'm sure it's a pleasure for the Astros fans to listen to one of the great voices in the game. He is a brother. He is Robert Ford. And great job out of you, my friend. Really enjoy your work online.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's Bros on the Beat. Make way for Mark Gray. For more, right now, go to MLBBro.com.